In the Clone Wars, Ahsoka Tano is framed for a bombing on the Jedi Temple that she didn't commit. She is expelled from the Order and goes on the run, only to be discovered as innocent in the final moments of her Republic trial. But what if Ahsoka actually bombed the Jedi Temple? This would change the timeline significantly, and this one small change would have a ripple effect for the galaxy. Now, for this to happen, we're going to have to dramatically change the way we see and view Ahsoka, which is difficult. Let's say that Ahsoka has grown tired of the Jedi ideals and believes that the war has turned them into soldiers, not the beloved peacekeepers that she grew up alongside. She blames them for the war, for the fact that she had to fight at such a young age. Essentially, she would join the viewpoints of many Republic citizens that the Jedi Order isn't what it used to be, and would think how Barriss had begun to in the Clone Wars. So, she bombs the temple, and just like in the original timeline, she is located, arrested, and during her trial, Anakin doesn't save the day with Barriss Offee, and Ahsoka is sentenced to life in prison. Tano's trial will be broadcast to the entire Republic. There would be mixed opinions, some simply viewing her actions as terrorism and believed she deserved to live behind bars, while others thought she did something many should have done, and because the Republic was failing, one person she inspired was Barriss Offee, who felt completely disillusioned with the ideals of the Jedi. She resonated with Ahsoka's ideals and what she stood for, and believed they could join forces. She stages a breakout of the prison to save her friend, and by using the Force to distract the Republic guards' minds, she sneaks into the prison, saves Ahsoka, and leaves. On the other side of Coruscant, Anakin grew very upset. He had lost his apprentice, and there was talk of him and Obi-Wan being sent out to the Outer Rim sieges, away from his wife. Everything was going wrong in Skywalker's life. He tried to communicate with Padme about this, but she didn't understand. He thought he had trained Ahsoka to become an amazing and compassionate person, and he wrestled with his dragon to find where he messed up. Hey guys, make sure to check out our saber shop, Fantasy Sabers, for the best NeoPixel sabers on the market. We have a bunch of perfect replicas and other insane Padawan sabers for sale. Check them out on our website, first link in the description below, and grab your own one today. Together, Barriss and Ahsoka would begin orchestrating more terrorist attacks. They had to be careful as to not get caught, as they both knew instantly that the Jedi Council would know who had done the attacks. After a monumental Republic win on Cato Nemoidia, Coruscant celebrates with a massive parade, with music, dancing, markets, and fun that encapsulates the streets of Coruscant. As Chancellor Palpatine delivers a speech detailing the heroic victory in the Separatist world, Ahsoka and Barriss detonate another bomb, this time catching even Palpatine off guard, who didn't know that Tano had escaped. The explosion captures the parade street on Coruscant, hitting civilians and buildings alike. But its biggest capture was knocking Palpatine unconscious. Without Palpatine's knowledge, he is taken to a Republic medical center on Coruscant, where he is healed by a team of medical droids. He is put into a stable condition, and everyone knows that the Chancellor will survive. However, a routine medical check is conducted on Palpatine as part of standard protocol when people come into the hospital injured. There are tests conducted. The medics draw a small sample of his blood to run basic tests, checking for signs of stress, illness, or fatigue. However, as the results come back, one anomaly catches their attention. The blood sample reveals an astonishingly high midichlorian count, a measurement typically associated with Force sensitivity. In fact, his midichlorian level rivals that of Master Yoda himself. The discovery sends a ripple of concern throughout the medical staff, who quietly share the results with senior members of the Jedi Council. Suspicion begins to brew. How could a man who has never been identified as a Jedi or Force user possess such an extraordinary power within him? Yoda and Windu were contacted and notified of this, and they instantly became concerned and intrigued. They had only just begun looking into their investigation of Palpatine, believing that his actions had been slightly suspicious as of recently. Windu, Yoda, Kenobi, Plo Koon, and Anakin go to the medical facility where they wait for the Chancellor to question him. As the concussed Chancellor slowly returns to consciousness, he sees a group of Jedi standing at their feet and he asks them what they are doing here. Palpatine wasn't actually injured, but he knew that he had to play the part in front of the Jedi to not raise suspicion. But then the Jedi reveal that his blood test shows a midichlorian count nearly as high as Master Yoda's, leading them to suspect that he may be the Sith Lord orchestrating the Clone Wars from the shadows. Palpatine's heart pounds for a moment, the weight of their accusation hanging heavy in the air, but he quickly regains his composure, forcing a smile into his face. With a smooth, calculated voice, he dismisses their concerns as baseless. Surely my proximity in the Jedi and my involvement in this war has exposed me to many unusual forces, he explains. I've handled ancient Sith artifacts, reviewed your military efforts. These could explain such readings, or perhaps, he adds with a cold edge to his tone, you should question how far the Jedi have fallen to suspect their own Chancellor. The Jedi look at one another and aren't totally convinced.
But more midichlorians than even me have you. Strange this is. Keep you here for questioning, we would like.
Just then, outside the window, Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee crouch in the shadows. The two rogue Jedi have their own plans. Believing that eliminating the Chancellor will strike a decisive blow against the corruption of the Republic, they load a poisoned dart into a small launcher and silent shot cuts through the air, aimed directly at Palpatine's heart, but as it nears, both he and the Jedi feel its deadly presence. In a flash of purple light, Mace Windu ignites his lightsaber and swats the dart away before it can reach its target. The sharp crack of energy against metal rings out, and every Jedi in the room springs to action, sabers igniting in a blaze of green, blue, and violet. Outside, Ahsoka and Barriss realize they have been discovered. Their hearts race as they leap into action, using the Force to propel themselves away. The fight begins, and sabers clash and the Jedi fight the rogue Jedi. Leaping across the rooftops of Coruscant, Obi-Wan and Plo Koon lock blades with Barriss, swinging with all of their might. Anakin finds himself face to face with his former Padawan. Their lightsabers clash, and the hum and crackle of energy fills the air. Anakin's heart aches as he fights her, desperately trying to reach the friend he once knew. You don't have to do this, he pleads, his strikes filled with hesitation. But Ahsoka, her eyes hard with conviction, lashes out with precision and fury. You're blind, Anakin. You follow leaders who are destroying the galaxy. The Jedi made you a weapon, not a peacekeeper. Her words cut deep, shaking him to his core, but duty blinds him, and he cannot let her go. The Jedi press forward, surrounding the two fugitives, but amidst the chaos, Palpatine seizes his chance. He leaves the medical center and flees into the lower levels of Coruscant whilst he can. Realizing they are losing their window of escape, Ahsoka and Barriss combine their strength and use the Force to destroy the corner of a building, making the Jedi lose their focus and giving the former Jedi enough time to get away. As they fall deeper into the lower levels of Coruscant where they can hide, Ahsoka begins to question her actions. She has always fought for the Republic, but now she doesn't know what to do, what she's fighting for. If she isn't fighting for democracy and the safety of others, then what's the point? All she wanted to do was send a message to the Jedi, but now Barriss has become fanatical, pushing for escalated violence. Ahsoka's vision of peace has twisted into darkness and she no longer recognizes herself. Meanwhile, Palpatine is absolutely furious. He has been exposed as Sidious and he couldn't believe it. He didn't know how after all of his meticulous planning, his secret would be exposed through a blood test. He hides in the depths of Coruscant, where he begins laying plans to reclaim power. The Senate hasn't been told who he is, so there's still time to salvage the situation. In the dim light of their hidden hideout, Ahsoka sits in silence, her thoughts heavy as the weight of her actions sink in. The realization of how far she has fallen gnaws at her, and regret takes hold. She reflects on the path she chose, the destruction she caused, and the ideals she abandoned. However, Barriss watches her with growing impatience, her dark eyes filled with a fire that no longer holds any doubt. When Ahsoka finally speaks, she questions the path they have taken and whether their actions have truly brought justice or just more chaos. Tension thickens between them as Barriss, unmoved, dismisses her thoughts, seeing them as a weakness. She snaps at Ahsoka, telling her that she is the one who inspired her to do these incredible things. Ahsoka's regret turns into resolve as she stands, her posture calm but firm, signaling a change within her. Ahsoka tells Barriss that she's done, that she can't live like this any longer. Anger takes over Offie's face as she realizes her best friend is nothing more than a failure. Without warning, she ignites her lightsabers in a blaze of red light that she stole from Asajj Ventress and swings at the Togruta. The room explodes into a fierce duel, the clash of their blades sending sparks flying as their conflicting ideals collide in a brutal and final confrontation. Ahsoka uses her training from Anakin to attack freely and with strength, but Barriss latched onto the dark side. She swung with everything she had. Barriss was like a bottle of anger, and she ran rampant, using Force Choke and wielding her red sabers with fury. On the other side of Coruscant, the Jedi and clones look for Palpatine. There was an order put out for everyone on Coruscant to search for the Chancellor's face. Immediately, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Plo Koon get into an LAAT gunship and go straight to his location. The lower levels of Coruscant were dark and chaotic, with towering structures casting deep shadows over the bustling undercity. Jedi and clones scoured the area, splitting into pairs to search every corner for Palpatine. The hunt was intense, as all of the Jedi searched desperately for the Chancellor. Finally, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Plo Koon tracked him into a shadowy shipyard where he crouched in a corner, his hood pulled low. Anakin's lightsaber ignited with a sharp hiss, quickly followed by Obi-Wan and Plo Koon's blades. Palpatine rose slowly, his yellow eyes gleaming with malice, and the fight erupted in a flash of crimson and blue light. The Jedi pressed their attacks, but Palpatine was faster and more ruthless than ever, his red blade slashing through the air with deadly precision. In the chaos, Obi-Wan was caught off guard and stabbed in the arm, forcing him to fall back, clutching his wound. Meanwhile, Plo Koon and Anakin kept up the assault, their movements desperate as they tried to outmatch the Sith Lord's ferocity. Elsewhere, Ahsoka faced off against Barriss Offee in a crumbling corridor, the combination of red and green cascading against their faces. Barriss lunged forward and tried to slice Ahsoka to the ground, but this left her open, and Tano exploited this by striking hard and fast, knocking the sabers from Barriss's grip and forcing her to the ground. Ahsoka tried to reason with her old friend, but Barriss was unwilling to be captured by the Jedi, and so she pulls a thermal imploder from her belt. Ahsoka's eyes widened in horror as Barriss activated the device and hurled it towards the ground. Acting on instinct, Ahsoka leaped back and used the Force to shield herself from the explosion that tore through the area. The blast sent her flying, and debris rained everywhere as the walls around them collapsed. When the dust settled, Ahsoka emerged, battered but alive, and saw no trace of Barriss. Her heart sank, realizing her old friend was gone forever. Back in the shipyard, Anakin was tiring, his strikes growing slower as Palpatine pressed him hard, his crimson blade spinning with terrifying speed. Plo Koon leaped into the fight, but before he could land a blow, Palpatine unleashed a surge of Force lightning that sent him crashing into a pile of crates, leaving Anakin alone against the Sith Lord. Palpatine's confidence grew as he pushed Anakin back, step by step, until his blade was poised to strike for the killing blow. Anakin was knocked to the floor, and Palpatine raised his saber above his head to strike. He had wanted to turn Anakin to the dark side, but at this point, his mind was simply focused on surviving. Just as it seemed Anakin would fall, Ahsoka appeared out of nowhere, leaping into the fight with her green sabers, Together, Anakin and Ahsoka fought side by side, their strikes perfectly timed as they pressed the Sith Lord. Palpatine began to falter under their combined assault, but his strength and fury made him a dangerous foe. Plo Koon recovered from the lightning, rising to his feet and charging back into battle. With all three Jedi united, their blades flashing in unison, Palpatine could no longer hold them back. Anakin summoned every last ounce of strength and lunged forward with a powerful strike, his lightsaber piercing Palpatine's chest. The Sith Lord froze, his twisted expression contorting in shock before he crumbled to the ground, defeated at last. As Palpatine's lifeless body lay still, clones arrived from every direction, surrounding the Jedi and pointing their weapons at Ahsoka. Though Anakin stepped forward to defend her, Ahsoka raised her hands and told him to stop. She accepted her fate, saying she deserved to face justice for what she had done. The clones arrested her, and though Anakin and the others spoke in her defense during the trial, Ahsoka herself admitted to her mistakes. Because of her role in helping the Jedi defeat Palpatine and ending the Sith's reign, her sentence was reduced to 20 years in prison. During those years, Anakin visited her often, bringing her news of the galaxy, updates on the Jedi, and words of forgiveness. Slowly, Ahsoka began to heal, and as Anakin forgave her, she found the strength to forgive herself. With her sentence ended, she stepped out of the prison a free woman, a galaxy a very different place than when she had entered. Choosing the path of a nomad, she traveled from planet to planet, helping those in need and using the lessons of her past to guide her. With her lightsabers at her side and a quiet determination in her heart, she sought to make amends for her mistakes, to bring hope where it was needed most, and to become the person she had always strived to be. Her journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long time, Ahsoka Tano felt at peace with herself and her place in the galaxy. Thanks for watching today's video. Head over to Fantasy Sabers for the best NeoPixel sabers on the market. You won't be disappointed. And be sure to check out our membership program where you get exclusive content and all of our what ifs early. See you all in the next episode, and may the Force be with you.